Today, we're looking at something most people misunderstand: the positive emotion of gratitude. And we're not talking about the polite holiday version or the write 3 things in a journal and hope for the best kind of gratitude. We are talking about the biological force that rewires your brain, steadies your nervous system, strengthens your heart, and transforms your emotional life from the inside out. Let's face it, most people think gratitude is soft, that it's optional. They think it's something you do when life is going well. But science tells a very different story, one of power, transformation, and biological processes. You'll discover in the following minutes that gratitude is a full-body intervention that changes how you think, how you cope and recover, and how you connect with others. And if you've been carrying an old definition of gratitude, the simplistic kind, I'm inviting you to set it down. Because what gratitude does in the brain and body is deeper, stronger, and far more life-changing than we ever realized. This is the Karen Schaal podcast. I'm Karen Schaal. Let's get started. Before we step into the science, I want to mention something that often goes unnoticed. Gratitude shows up in our lives in quiet ways. These moments arrive gently, almost like the world is nudging you to see what is good. And in many ways, the world is designed to be appreciated. The wonders of nature and the magic of human connection remind us that we are part of something bigger. But it wasn't always that way. Historically, gratitude was not the daily emotional experience it is today. Early humans were focused on survival, food, shelter, safety. Gratitude appeared when something went right, but there was no space for the reflective, emotional experience we know now. That began to shift when humans started trading. When the practice of giving and receiving took shape, gratitude stepped into a new role. It became a social signal, a lubricant for cooperation. Gratitude strengthened alliances, kept groups stable, and helped societies move more smoothly and safely. And if you listen to episode 21, you may remember that gratitude has grown into one of the most important forces in human relationships. Appreciation might sound simple, but it is a key element in how communities function and how societies hold together. We all know how this plays out in real life. I was recently at the airport when someone needed a phone charger. So I handed them mine. It was no big deal. It was just a common act of kindness between strangers. But something interesting happened after that. Later, when I needed someone to watch my luggage, I asked the same person who had borrowed my charger, and they helped me out. That is how gratitude works inside human communities. One small act of help builds trust. Trust invites cooperation. Cooperation creates a sense of safety, and in that safety, gratitude grows. Human beings have been doing this for thousands of years. Before we had laws, we had this sense of reciprocal behavior. We learned that if I help you today, you will help me tomorrow. Gratitude was a quiet glue holding early human groups together. It allowed trade, it allowed sharing, and ultimately, it allowed survival. And it still does. Before you know it, 2 strangers are helping each other with chargers and watching over luggage. That is gratitude in motion, not a feeling, not a performance. It's a living exchange that keeps human relationships moving with ease. And it is one of the oldest social systems we have, working today in much the same way it has throughout history. And the truth is, moments like this are happening around us every day. Tiny threads of trust between people who may never see each other again. And when we begin to pay attention, something shifts. Those moments come into focus. They shape the tone of your day. What once would have slipped past you now feels meaningful, grounding, or even beautiful. On the outside, gratitude still looks like a quiet emotion, almost delicate. But on the inside, gratitude is shaping your biology, rewriting your stress response, stabilizing your emotions, strengthening your relationships. And that is where we are headed next. You are going to see exactly what gratitude does inside your brain. You will understand how it affects your nervous system, how it calms your stress chemistry, how it strengthens your heart, believe it or not, how it deepens connection, and how it rewires your attention so you can see more of what is good. By the end of this episode, my hope is simple, that you walk away with a sense of awe for what your body is capable of and a clear understanding of the transformational power of gratitude. So let's take a look inside your brain. Gratitude works like a tiny spark that turns on your feel better systems. The first place the spark appears is in the thinking center of your brain, the prefrontal cortex. It sits right behind your forehead and helps you calm your emotions, focus, make decisions, and understand meaning. When you feel grateful, activity in this part of the brain increases. Neurons begin firing more steadily. Blood flow rises and your mind gains a clearer, steadier view of what is happening around you. From there, gratitude moves into the reward center of the brain, known as the ventral striatum. This is the part that releases dopamine, the chemical that we all know gives you motivation, pleasure, and that natural uplifting sensation. It is the same pathway that lights up when you hear a favorite song or experience something meaningful. So when gratitude appears, your brain responds with a simple message. That felt good. Pay attention to it. Gratitude also activates your mood stabilizing system, known in science as a serotonergic system. Now, this is a network in your brain and body that uses serotonin to regulate emotions and brings you back to center. When gratitude moves through this system, serotonin rises. Your emotional landscape smooths out. You feel balanced rather than overwhelmed. At the same time, another major change happens in your stress chemistry. This begins in a part of the brain called the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus helps run your stress system, and it does this by sending signals that tell your body when to release cortisol. Now, we all know cortisol is your main stress hormone, and it rises when your brain thinks you are in danger. Gratitude, on the other hand, lowers cortisol by signaling safety. Your muscles loosen, your breathing deepens, your body steps out of survival mode and into a calmer state. And as cortisol comes down, your parasympathetic nervous system, often called the rest and restore system, comes online. This system is led by the vagus nerve. This is a tremendous nerve, a strong nerve that touches almost every major organ in the body. It slows your heart rate, deepens your breathing, and helps your entire body shift into recovery. Gratitude increases this vagal activity, bringing your body into repair mode. This is the physical equivalent of that spontaneous sigh your body lets out when it truly feels safe again. In regard to the heart, gratitude strengthens the adaptability of your heart through heart rate variability, or HRV. A healthy HRV means the heart can adjust quickly to stress and recover more easily. This allows your breath to even out, your chest to relax, and your body to feel a subtle sense of openness, like a weight lifting off your shoulders. This is all an indication that your heart is moving into a more resilient pattern. It is coming back into balance. Connection is another powerful benefit of gratitude. Gratitude boosts oxytocin, a bonding chemical produced in the hypothalamus and released by the pituitary gland. When oxytocin rises, your body relaxes, your guard softens, and connections feel safer, and more natural. This is why gratitude creates instant connection even between strangers. Our biology is designed for cooperation, and gratitude is one of the most efficient ways to activate connection. And finally, this is a lot of stuff, isn't it? But this is exactly why gratitude is so powerful. The last benefit I want to talk about is its effect on something called the negativity bias. We've covered this before. The negativity bias is a brain survival wiring. It comes from three main systems in the brain: the amygdala, the hippocampus, and the default mode network. These systems were designed to spot danger first because noticing threats kept our ancestors alive. The amygdala looks for anything that might be dangerous. The hippocampus stores strong negative emotions, so we remember what hurt. And the default mode network leans towards worry, replaying problems, and predicting what might go wrong. These survival systems were incredibly useful thousands of years. But today, most of the time, they keep us anxious, overwhelmed, and stressed out. Gratitude does not erase the negativity. It doesn't erase a negativity bias, but it brings balance. It helps the brain shift its attention towards what is safe, steady, and good. And when you do that over and over again, your brain builds new pathways that make it easier to notice what is working in your life and not just what is stressful. And I noticed this in my own life. After practicing gratitude for a while, I began to see a shift. I found myself looking for the good more naturally, not just in the easy moments, but in myself, in others, and in situations that were complicated or unclear. It was not about pretending that negative did not exist. It was about acknowledging the challenge while still leaning into the goodness that was present. What surprised me most about this was things often turned out not to be as bad as my mind had predicted. My habit of negative forecasting, always thinking of the bad that's going to happen, it didn't happen. I worried less. I carried less tension in my body and in my thoughts. Gratitude gave me a wider, truer view of my life. You can feel this difference in the smallest parts of your day. Think of, for example, two very ordinary mornings. On a negative day, your mind jumps straight to what is wrong. Your stress alarm switches on. Your attention narrows until even minor problems feel heavy. But on a grateful day, you notice one good thing. Your breath softens. Your heart rate is steady. Dopamine and serotonin give your body a gentle lift. Your brain stays open. You see the day through a broader lens. Another example, imagine someone putting you off in traffic. Oh, brother, right? In a negative state, your amygdala fires, your jaw tightens, your body holds tension long after the moment has passed. But in a grateful state, your thinking center steps in. Your heart rate recovers quickly. You stay in control of your body and your tone. The moment ends without carrying you with it. Or another example, think about a sharp comment from someone you love. In a negative state, the threat system lights up. You snap back or shut down. But in a grateful state, your emotional regulation stays online. You pause, respond, and keep connection intact. These are not personality differences. These are biological differences. Gratitude shifts your internal position. It steadies your nervous system. It softens your stress chemistry, and it widens the way you see your life. Gratitude does not remove the hard things. It changes the place you're standing when they arrive. In our next episode, we are going to continue our gratitude series with something I think you are really going to appreciate. We are going to take everything we've learned today, which is a ton of stuff, and move one layer deeper, looking at how gratitude becomes a lived experience, how it shapes your choices, your relationships, and the way you move through the world. This series is designed to build week by week. So I encourage you to share this with someone who might need a lift, someone who could use a little steadiness, or maybe someone who simply deserves to feel better in their own life. Please like, share, and subscribe. It helps us reach more people who are looking for real tools, real science, and real hope. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Karen Schaal podcast. I'm Karen Schaal. See you next time. Bye-bye.